To start off this episode, I want to talk about the Indianapolis Colts and their quarterback situation because Shane Steichen just came out and said that as long as Anthony Richardson is healthy, he will be a starter. So when he returns, Flacco is getting put back to that bench. And from a development standpoint, I get it because, we've seen ever since day one, the Colts want to roll with Anthony Richardson. They did it last year too. He was the starter going into the year until he eventually got hurt a couple weeks in. So we see what the strategy is here with Richardson. It is to throw him to the wolves and see what comes out on the other side. And what's supposed to come out on the other side is a prospect who's been through a lot and has faced adversity and is going to be a well-developed quarterback by the end of it. But with Richardson, I just think he's such a raw prospect. He's got all the physical talent in the world, no doubt about it. He's one of the most physically gifted quarterbacks in the league, one of the most physically gifted quarterback prospects that we've seen in recent memory. But he's a very, very raw prospect. He wasn't even completing 50% of his passes this year. And this Colts team has expectations of at least being a playoff team. They made it with Gardner Minshew last year. And right now, I think Joe Flacco is going to be able to take it to the playoffs. He's had a great game, 360 yards, 3 touchdowns. And I understand long-term, Anthony Richardson is much more the guy than Joe Flacco is. But why not win now and let your quarterback, your young second-year quarterback, learn from a guy who's been around the league for so long and just take all that knowledge in? Because Richardson, as we've said, he's a very, very green player, and it's going to take a while to develop that and to reach all his potential. And I think he's got a lot of potential, but it's going to take a while to get there. So why not let him sit and learn behind Flacco, and Flacco might even be able to lead you to the playoffs. They did with Gardner Minshew last year, and one thing about Gardner, I like him, but he can be a very conservative quarterback. Joe Flacco's the opposite. Joe Flacco's going to let that thing air out, and sometimes that can be to your detriment, but sometimes for the better. And the Colts didn't win this most recent game, but that wasn't his fault. He had a very good game. The Colts offense scored a lot of points. Their defense just allowed a little bit more. So just my take on the Colts QB situation is I think AR is going to be good in the long run. However, I believe that you might be better served to let Joe Flacco start this year, let Richardson learn from behind him, get to the playoffs, and then see where you go next season. That's my take on it. I don't know how hot of a take that is, but I have my belief in that. If you enjoyed this video, it would be great if you could find it in you to like, subscribe, maybe check out the full podcast on Spotify, follow us on there, follow us on Instagram. I know realistically this podcast isn't going to go anywhere ultimately, whether it's via the segments on YouTube or the entire podcast itself. But I want to get into the sports broadcasting business. I want to be able to promote thought-provoking discussions about the NBA, and I would love to do it via State of the Association. Thank you if you made it all the way through.